Hello, welcome to Dungeon Dwarves Podcast. I'm your host Justin. Today, for Fantasy Month, we're going to review the Max Landis graphic novel, Green Valley, which is drawn by Giuseppe Camuncoli, inked by Cliff Ratburn, and colorist Jean Francois Bellew, and letterer Pat Breslow. I gave I mentioned the letter this time. Normally I don't mention the letter, but because of that six Marvel 616 the Marvel Method documentary, I feel bad for the for letterers now. So I picked up this graphic novel 2 years ago. I actually didn't read it till today. Um, it comes with a beautiful green cover with gold italics. It looks really good. Um, I can't remember what I paid for it, but it's says here it's $30 US. So that might be like $40 Canadian. I don't remember at all. So so the book has a twist, which it lets you know the twist like pretty early on, but I don't want to spoil it for people who don't want to be spoiled. So I'll give a brief summary of what the book is about. Basically, the Knights of it's about four warriors, the Knights of Calodia, who after their kingdom was destroyed by barbarians, are left, you know, depressed and distraught after a year. Um, a boy comes to them on horseback uh, named Percival, who tells them that his village or town, Green Valley, is under attack by an evil wizard who has dragons under his command. So these four warriors go off on a quest to defeat the evil wizard and slay the dragons. And but the wizard and the dragons are not what they seem. It's a fun adventure book. There's lots of action. Um, there's a lot of melodrama as well because the main character who what was his name again? Ebert or something like that. Let me just look. Sorry for this. There's a lot of like dumb comedic writing here and there, which I thought was kind of lame. But then again, Max Landis is like a comedic writer. If you ever watch any of his movies, like American Ultra, what was that? What was that movie? That comedy movie, Him, Me, Her, or something like that. He's very much a comedic writer, though. Uh, what's often a critique of his movies is that you hear the voice of the writer and his characters, which that's a saying when you when the writer's personality comes through his characters. So like that term was phrased by Kevin Smith, who, because of his podcast, people pretty much had his personality down. So whenever you would watch movies, not only the people sound like Kevin Smith, but like he would ref shit in his movies that characters would talk about were mentioned in his fucking podcast. So like Max Landis has been accused of having the same problem. You don't really get that in this book, I would say. So if and I would say it's just a all round great fun adventure book. My problem with it is that I and this is where I have to give a minor spoil. I thought it was like a fantasy book, and at the back it says it's fantasy. And by the way, this is rated M for mature. So yeah, I was tricked. Okay, so my rating. despite the fact that I got tricked. I still think it's a fun book. Um, I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. Now I'm gonna go into spoilers. So what the book is really about is about um, they go to Green Valley, and it turns out the wizard is a time traveler who has who picked up dinosaurs and has them like using the technology of the future. It's a which it that we find out that he's from 2035, though he has an 80s fetish. He dresses like an 80s punk. Um, yeah, so the characters have to fight and defeat this guy. Even though why people from the future can't just time travel and like defeat this guy, they don't really explain. Other than like the time continuum is very like fragile at the moment or whatever. Um, yeah, so like there's a scene where like a character gets caught in like a time warp and is sent into the future because the time cops or whatever the fuck they call it. I'm surprised they didn't mention that fucking movie because they reference movies like in one set in one like word bubble. One of the characters, Golfer, references Time Bandits, Time Machine, and Back to the Future, all in one fucking word bubble, right? So like the scene where they meet, where the one of the main characters meets the time cops, was very like that's when those two characters very much felt like Max Landis esque. But like the rest of the characters, thank God, don't. And there is like this conundrum when they do finally beat the wizard because the main character's wife was killed during the barbarian attack. So like two of the main characters who are best friends have to fight each other to keep the one guy from traveling to the past to like try to save their kingdom because he before when he came back to their present, which is 5th century, which I have a complaint where like it's 5th century, but like uh, um, the main wizard named Cyril, who's time traveling thief, needs like is collecting metal to repair his ship because he has like nanobites that will break it down to base material and fix his ship, kind of like No Man's Sky. If you ever played that piece of shit game, though I hear it's great because of the update. Um, there's a suit of plate armor, and plate armor, they said they were in the 5th century, right? Plate armor wasn't invented, and I looked this up because of a book I was reading. I had to double check, fact check something. um Plate armor wasn't invented until like the 12th century, so it's like there's like a suit of plate armor like 7 centuries before they were even invented, and it came from the current time. It wasn't from something the fucking other guy had. So that's my complaint right there. What was I gonna say before I fucking like switch topics? Whatever. You had the two main characters fight. Um, and what ends up happening is that, sorry to spoil the whole thing. What ends up happening is like the one guy, the Logan Wolverine looking character, ends up going back in time and tries to warn people about the attack, ends up changing things, and you have like a happy ending, right? Which I thought was cool. Um, yeah, I really enjoyed this book, despite the fact that I was tricked. Like, I thought this was a fantasy book, and even says fantasy in the back, but I guess I should have. Um, Known better because on the cover there's some like digital like um blur like on the cover where like like dead pixels and shit. Which, why is there dead pixels? I don't fucking know. I don't know. I guess I should pay attention more when I buy books, but it's like I just wanted to. I was more like intrigued because it was like a Max Landis book, and I heard like he was like canceled. So I'm surprised the guy can still get work in this fucking libtard comic industry when the guy was like accused of, being toxic around women, which like that whole like thing of Max Landis getting canceled, it was obviously in response to him defending his friend Tobuscus, who was also canceled for being. Uh, he was pretty much canceled for being like a shitty toxic boyfriend, which is like a lot of people like who um, become celebrities overnight, kind of get like a big ego over themselves and kind of like you know um, become like kind of assholes or whatever. Which like the like Tobuscus is not very much like it's not like a handsome dude. Like these bitches were only into him because he was like a big YouTuber. So like Max Landis was his friend, so he felt like he had to defend him. So what happens? This chick over Twitter just accuses him of fake shit. Which Max Landis, if you ever watch his YouTube videos or seen him on like Red Letter Media, the guy comes off very fucking gay. At one point, like he dyed his hair like a rainbow colors. And Max Landis, for people who don't know, is the son of director John Landis, who directed like Animal House and like he directed like a Burke and Hare. Didn't he direct a Burke and Hare movie? And he also directed like I think the like a Twilight Zone movie. I can't remember, but yeah, John Landis is a famous director. So I'm gonna take a sip. Sorry, I just got back from walking my dog, so my throat was a little dry. So yeah, I would say if you can if you don't mind the price, it's like 6 issues. If you don't mind the price, it is a fun book and it is a good read. And watching the characters fight, the knights fight the dinosaurs were pretty cool. Though, like it's funny, like they reference like magic and dragons don't exist, and it's like if you know anything, um, about dinosaurs, is like uh, spoiler alert, trigger warning. Uh, Dinosaurs never existed either. It was basically a scam by the British Royal Society to try to get people to like, because like evolution wasn't taking, so they need something to make evolution cool. To what is it called? Sensationalize it. So they invented dinosaurs. Like if you watch like fake dinosaur documentaries, like the first guy who ever like discovered dinosaurs didn't have any proof, didn't find any old bones. He just wrote a fucking scientific journal theorizing the existence of dinosaurs. And then the first guy to find a dinosaur, right, found an old tooth and then went and told the whole world he found the first dinosaur bone and called it the jagged tooth dinosaur and hired artists and like craftsmen to make a skeleton based off of iguana uh, for the very first dinosaur. And then since then there was a huge dinosaur hunt boom where like everybody around the world found all the bones and claimed they were dinosaurs, and like they were the places where they were finding these bones were already well thoroughly searched, like places where like archaeologists had already you know checked them dry for like artifacts and shit. So it was like a huge like scam that we still perpetuate to this day that dinosaurs existed when they didn't. Yeah, check out some fake dinosaur documentaries. It's pretty cool. All right, peace. I'm gonna be reviewing The Warrior and the Sorceress, which is like a 1984 David Carradine movie tomorrow. All right, bye.